There are also growing concerns the number of evictions will start to rise again across the state. New at 5:30, ABC 27's investigative reporter Katie LaGrone breaks down the lingering issues with the state's eviction process that often leaves tenants haunted for years.
As lawmakers in Tallahassee battle the state's insurance crisis, what's not on the special agenda this week? Florida's rapidly intensifying affordable housing crisis.
Is it the worst you've ever seen it?
I would say this is pretty bad.
And with it, growing concerns the end to the state's rental assistance program, Our Florida, will be swiftly followed by an increase in new eviction filings.
I shouldn't have even gotten to the point of eviction.
Matilda Damius is still recovering from hers. In November, her landlord filed an eviction against her after claiming she owed thousands in back rent. While she says her landlord didn't tell her she owed for missing weeks until a year after she moved in, Damius was approved for Our Florida, the state's rental assistance program. It paid the landlord $13 grand, covering not just back rent, but future payments. Still, Damius was evicted, leaving the single working mom now living with the scar of an eviction for the next 7 years.
Another landlord or another owner sees that you have an eviction on your record. It's basically like you're a black sheep. No, I don't want to deal with you. I don't care what the story is.
It's an issue that isn't new, but is gaining more attention since the fallout of COVID has left more Floridians facing eviction for the first time. And rising rents are making it that much harder for them to move on from it.
As much as we want landlords obviously to get their rent and to continue to maintain units, tenants need housing as well. And so if COVID-19 is a factor in keeping these evictions on the record, I would say that it is unfair.
Attorney Amy Petway works for the Legal Aid Society of Palm Beach County, which helps represent the disadvantaged in court. Damius is just one of her many first-time eviction clients who she believes should be able to get their eviction records sealed from the public. Since her case was settled, her landlord made whole.
Right now, what we're seeing is that if the eviction is there and a tenant is applying for another house or another unit, the landlord automatically looks at that eviction and says, oh, you don't qualify.
While individual judges can agree to expunge a person's eviction, most don't because proving it's necessary is a tough burden for struggling tenants to meet.
The damage is done by the filing.
Across the state in Tampa Bay, longtime attorney Tom DeFiore is also being deluged with renters facing evictions and the repercussions that come with it, even when cases are dismissed.
It's the equivalent of being arrested and charged with something but not convicted. That is how a landlord can potentially view that.
Earlier this year, a bill was introduced to allow certain renters dealing with first-time evictions to keep those records hidden from the public. It failed. A win for the other side.
We believe it's critical for housing providers to have access to a variety of information when evaluating a potential resident.
Amanda White of Florida's Apartment Association also clarifies how many landlords view potential renters with an eviction in their past.
A mere filing for an eviction is typically not something that would cause concern. The housing provider is really looking for repeat filings, for example, or instances where the resident owes a substantial amount of money to the previous housing providers.
Matilda Damius has since found a new place to live, one she describes as better, but not first without paying more to move in and move on from the past.
You rob Peter to pay Paul to make sure that Paul gets paid so you can move in.
Though the state's rental program has closed, some local governments are still offering help. Struggling renters are advised to immediately apply for that help because the bottom line, landlords want to know their money is coming. Katie LaGrone, back to you.